Meanwhile, let's get back to the other big stock on deck, Apple's earnings. Bloomberg Intelligence senior analyst Anurag Rana joins us. And Anurag, well, the share's actually turning positive after a 4% slump. Are we managing to counteract it with the Vision Pro news, or is it more that we're getting okay with the fact that China will be short-term in nature?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm a bit surprised at that, too. I mean, I think the print last night basically said there's going to be very little growth this year. So it is concerning. And I don't think Vision Pro can offset that. Listen, even if you sell 1 million units, which is way above anybody else in the world has modeled this out, that's $3.5 billion in revenue. Apple generates over, the consensus is roughly around 400 billion. So that would be, less than 1% of total, revenue addition to Apple. So this is not a needle mover when it comes to sales. I mean, China is the big factor, and we see nothing but disappointment there.
Kara, Anurag's keeping it real, which, if you read some of the notes out this morning, he's a bit of a standout in that respect, because a lot of people do see growth. I still don't understand this issue of China. We've done a lot of it on the show, but one thing that we haven't discussed is services revenue in Europe and the installed base. Yeah. The installed base continues to grow. So even if you look at one market geographically and say weakness in China, or one product category, weakness in whatever, overall, more people are buying Apple products and they have Apple products, and the services side's doing good.
Yeah, see, one of the things you have to talk about, we all know Apple's a phenomenal company. Amazing, installed base, services, all sorts of things that's going. But at the same time, you want to talk about the revenue model. How much can this grow this year, next year? This year, it's going to be less than 5%. Next year, maybe 5%. So the question is, how much do you pay for a stock that's going to grow, 4 or 5%? And, I was listening to your colleague before. When you look at something like an AWS or a Microsoft, you're going to get double-digit growth for multiple years to come. So you take that into account, and then you match up. Apple has a lot to explain here, that how do they get to that 7-8% growth here? And I think it's going to be a challenging task, at least for this year and next year.
Because at the moment, the market braces for yet another revenue decline in their fiscal second quarter. So back to what we were seeing all of last year. I mean, any exuberance about this new VR, AR reality that we get on sale today, Anurag?
No, not on that. But, he did utter the magic word Gen AI on the call. And you're going to talk about launching some new tools and / products sometime in the second half of this year. I think that's a wild card that could, basically prove me wrong. Because if they're able to come up with certain things that are embedded in iOS 18 that will really make productivity higher, then you don't really need to download an app and do a lot of that stuff. And for that, maybe you need to go to iPhone 16 or the next version of the iPhone that may have some capabilities, and that can drive the refresh cycle of iPhone that we've been all waiting for.
Bloomberg Intelligence senior analyst Anurag Rana, keeping it real. Thank you very much. Happy Friday.